So Ron, this is one of my favorite topics actually. Sometimes influencers happen like even in a second, right moment, right time, whatever, and sometimes a lifetime. And when I speak, I talk a lot about sounds usual. My grandfather, him, my grandmother, my mom, my aunt, they came from Kyiv years and years ago and immigrated to Canada. And I remember when I was five, my grandfather in Montreal used to take me for walks in the park, and he talked to everybody, which I think I must have got that DNA from right over there. And one day I asked him, I called him Zeta. I said, how do you know all these people? And he said, well, and he actually, I remember he pointed to me. I said, this that guy coming over. One day I smiled at him, and he looked up and smiled at me, and he came over and started talking to me. And then we did this, and then someone else saw us smiling and laughing, and they came over too. And I'm a 5-year-old thinking, hey, life's pretty cool. You just got to smile at people. Sounds simple. And as a 5-year-old, I don't think had a whole lot of problems anyway at that point. And then you kind of get older and you're complicated and whatnot, and it's really ridiculous because it's doesn't have to be complicated. A smile, even that, can sometimes really influence people at the right time. We all have different influencers in our life all the time, sometimes negative too, and positive also. But can you share maybe two or three people that have been influential in your life?
Yeah. Um, well, I'd say one of the biggest influences on my life is going to come out of left field is a band uh, called Kiss.
Yeah, I love Kiss.
Yeah. Kiss. When I think about that question, who had real influence on my life? It's specifically Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley of Kiss. Um, they really like. If I could say that they have equity, they have shares in who I am today. And when I was a teenager, besides thinking they were so freaking cool and I loved their music, um, all their songs were empowering, positive. The words were never, this gloomy, doomy, I suck, I live my life. It was always about you live your life, rock and freaking roll, dude, and go be someone, do something. Yeah, and everything about them was larger than life in every possible way. And I will never forget when I used to watch, as a teenager, you like on top of all the interviews and stuff like that. Whenever they'd have an interview, these were the only rock and roll guys who were giant stars. And the interviewer on VH1 or MTV, whatever, they'd always say, um, so tell us about the lifestyle of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And these were the only guys to say, well, we do a lot of sex and rock and roll, but drugs are for losers. And whoever does that, we don't want anything to do with those people. And so when my idols said that to me, I never, ever, I never drank alcohol and I didn't even smoke a joint in my life. I don't say that as judgment on anyone that does.
Right.
But I remember being so unique in my peer group and being really proud of that, that I got my head straight and that I know where I'm going and that's the key. One of the keys for me to be larger than life is to just keep my mind very still and very focused. So I love them and they're amazing to me.
I love that. I've known some hip hop guys like Sway is a major one, and they're promoting that type of stuff, a mindset as well right now. Any other people you wanna share?
Yeah, another huge influence on my life is a great thinker and philosopher whose name is Werner Erhard. He's in his 90s these days.
The Forum and
Um,
Landmark and all that stuff.
yep, Forum and Landmark. I'm a big
Yes.
yep, I'm a big Landmark guy. I had the great privilege of being trained once by Werner himself. Um, and I literally would not be who I am today if it wasn't for Werner Erhard's magnificent way of bringing so many different schools of thought into a very practical methodology that has given me my life and I'm very proud to say that I get to continue his type of work on today with the kind of work that I do with people, and it's everything to me. It's
No,
transformed my family and everything for me.
I love it. Yeah, I've taken the Forum and different things like that too. Um, Another one, just really quick, if you can think of one.
Um, yeah, probably Viktor Frankl.
My
Just thinking
favorite
about
book.
this the other day,
It's my
that
favorite. It's my favorite book.
right, Man in Search of Meaning.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, there's that his quote from the book of uh that in the end, the only true freedom that a human being has is the freedom to choose who he is in who he is in a given situation. And that's the whole thing in a nutshell. And that's it, and reading that when I was, I think, 16, um, was it probably went so deep into me that it was that's how I live today.
And there's meaning in every single thing that
Everything.
happens. Right. Thanks for sharing that. Very cool.
Yeah. Thank you.